Living with an anxiety disorder, or OCD, is like living with a cult leader who has set up shop in your own head. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Anxious Truth. This is episode 340 of the podcast. We are recording in March of 2026. We are low budget. We are brief today. There's no video for YouTube, no production values. We're just going to get right to the point. I'm Drew Linsalata, creator and host of The Anxious Truth. I am a therapist that specializes in the treatment of anxiety and anxiety disorders, and also a former sufferer of these very things that we talk about in this podcast. And this week, I do want to talk about how living with anxiety, or OCD, is like living with a cult leader who is in your head. No plugs. If you want to know more about the work that I do, just head on over to my website at theanxioustruth.com. Everything is linked over there, so check it out, or don't. Hopefully this episode resonates with you in some way and is helpful in some way. So let's get right into it. In the work that I do, whether you are listening to this podcast or reading my books or whatever, you're always going to see the principles of third wave therapies. Third wave mindfulness and acceptance-based therapies are what we use to treat anxiety and OCD and things of that nature. They're the most effective ways that we have, and it's what I use in my practice. And as part of the third wave world, we talk about a principle called cognitive fusion all the time. In cognitive fusion, you take your thoughts very, very seriously. You get fused with them and glued to them. You don't even think to question them. They must be valid, they must be correct, and they must be followed. But instead of talking about cognitive fusion, like, oh, you're fused with your thoughts, I like to use the metaphor of a cult leader that lives in your head. You wind up in this sort of like dysfunctional, abusive, predatory relationship with a cult leader. That is anxiety. That is your anxiety disorder. That is your OCD. It's not just that you are fused with your thoughts and sort of overvaluing them and lose the ability to be discerning about your thoughts. You are in a relationship with anxiety or OCD that acts like a totalitarian cult leader. And I want to go through a few ways that it sort of shows up that way. Maybe it helps you to reframe things a little bit and understand why you keep getting tricked by your thoughts. And if you're listening to this podcast, I mean, if this is your first episode, welcome. Feel free to check out all the other episodes. But if you've been following along with me for a while, you may be in that situation where like, yeah, well, I know that this isn't right. I understand that I don't have to follow these thoughts, but I just can't help it because they seem so powerful and strong. And you get frustrated. So this may be a way for you to sort of reframe that a little bit. It is not going to fix you. This is not meant to like, oh, it's a cult leader. Cool. I'm cured. Thanks, Drew. And you go on your merry way. But this framework may help you understand why it is in fact safe to disobey the cult leader, even though the cult leader in your head, the anxiety disorder and the OCD, will insist very loudly that it is not safe. So let's go through a few highlights of this metaphor that I often bring up. In the case of an anxiety disorder or OCD, you wind up in that sort of us versus them mentality, right? Your anxiety disorder, your OCD, the cult leader, will use the typical cult leader tactic of saying that the outside world is dangerous, incompetent, doesn't get it, and only I, says anxiety or OCD, only I truly know here, right? So your anxiety disorder, your OCD, the cult leader in your head will insist that your spouse, your partner, your friends, your parents, your coworkers, your therapists, your medical team, they are all being really careless and reckless when they tell you, says this cult leader, to disobey me or that it's safe to ignore me. They don't know you as well as I do. They don't understand how you feel inside. They don't get it, but I get it. So it's us against them, babe. Don't listen to the outside world, says the cult leader in your head. Only I truly know, and they will never understand how you feel, but I do. So just follow me and I will take care of you. Don't follow them. I'm the only one that truly cares about your safety, your well-being, and survival. That is what a cult leader says to cult members. That is also what anxiety and OCD says to the people that they drag around all day long. And I would remember I was one of them. I do understand what this feels like. Another way that anxiety and OCD will sort of act like a cult leader that lives in your head is sort of by love bombing you, right? And then sort of taking it away. So this is a typical cult thing. Like gangs too do the same thing. Like, hey, join the cult, man. We see you. We know you. We understand you. We're going to protect you. We got you. We love you. We're your family, says the cult leader or the gang leader, right? In an anxiety disorder or an OCD, you perform a compulsion or a ritual or a safety behavior, or you avoid And then that cult leader rewards you with a little brief, like sweet moment of kind of quick relief. That's the love bombing. Like, see, I told you, like, if you just do what we tell you, if you just follow the rules of the cult or the gang, it's going to feel good, man. We're going to make you feel good. We love you. We love you. We love you. And it makes it look like the cult leader, anxiety or OCD, is the one helping you or providing you with love and peace and fulfillment. But in reality, the cult leader is the one that causes the problem that makes you need fulfillment or relief or feelings of safety to begin with. Anxiety and OCD will act like a cult leader by sort of love bombing you, but they're the reason why you need to be love bombed to begin with. So it's really kind of a weird cycle, like which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do I really need to feel safe? And this thing provides that? Or does this thing make me feel like I need to be kept safe and then, conveniently solve the problem for me? So there's another way that living with an anxiety disorder or OCD is like living with a cult leader who has set up shop in your head. Number 3, let's look at the number 3 point. If you question a cult leader or a gang leader, the punishment is often, oh, we're going to kick you out of the cult, right? We're going to excommunicate you. We're going to cut you off. You won't have a special family that knows and truly protects you and has your back. You'll be on your own. And if you question the cult leader, this is going to end badly for you because the cult leader knows you. The cult leader sees the reality that you're living in and can protect you. In an anxiety disorder, in OCD, the moment that you consider maybe an act-based willingness to act in terms of your values instead of, obeying the demands of the cult leader, or take opposite action, or leave a safety behavior behind, or leave a crutch behind, or challenge that fear, the anxiety will ramp up the stakes, right? The message that you get from the cult leader is, hey, if you stop checking your pulse, you won't just be anxious, you'll die. If you stop ruminating, you will miss something. Ruminating is a good thing. Only I know that you need to ruminate, right? So if you challenge me, or if you question my instructions as the cult leader in your head, bad things are going to happen. You're going to lose your protection. So no, check your pulse, bring your ice pack, ruminate like crazy, perform mental compulsions, check and scan again. Like, do all of these things. Make sure you do the special count. Make sure you repeat those song lyrics in your head the right way. Make sure that your head is tilted in the right direction as you do this task. Otherwise, bad things will happen. Do not question me. Anybody who has ever tried to approach these problems by using exposure and acceptance-based treatments, like the things that I'm talking about, will know that even though logically you can agree with the things that you hear me say into this expensive microphone, or you understand why your therapist is setting up an exposure ladder for you, a fear hierarchy for you, when the time comes to not do the compulsion or the ritual, or to stay in the scary situation instead of being rescued or run from it or avoid it, it feels like you can't do it. Like, I understand why I have to do this, but it's really hard for me to actually do that and disobey the instructions that the cult leader is giving me. Well, why? Because the cult leader acts like a cult leader and says, stay in line here, follow the rules, or you will be in trouble. That feeling that you get that says, this is just too risky. I'm sorry, I can't do that exposure. I can't accept this. I can't allow that. I can't leave my ritual behind. It's just too risky. That is what happens when a cult leader that lives inside your head tells you that the stakes for disobeying or dissenting are too high and too disastrous. That's another way that anxiety disorders and OCD act like cult leaders, because that's what cult and gang leaders do, right? We see it all the time. This is not news. I'm not making this up. This is just easy to draw a line from one to the other, right? So let's look at another one. I'm going to do 5 today. So number four in the top 5 reasons why living with anxiety disorders and OCD is like having a cult leader in your head is that a cult leader will often claim to see things that others can't or won't. So a cult leader, a gang leader, those type of people will often say like, hey, I'm the only one brave enough to see the truth. I'm the only one smart enough to see the truth. I'm the only free thinker enough to see this truth. Nobody else can actually see it. So anxiety and OCD, that the cult leader in your head will say, I have a special ability to detect the real danger. That might be a bodily sensation or a scary thought, or maybe you did something that was slightly morally questionable. And I know what that really means. That means you got to do this ritual to make sure that you are a moral person. It will insist that normal people who don't have these powerful feelings of doubt and fear and uncertainty and like terror inside them, those normal people, they're too ignorant. They don't know what this really is. Only I know what this is. I have a special ability to see the real truth and the real danger that nobody else can see. So follow me. Don't ever not follow me because they just can't see what's going on here. I can. So that's kind of the, secret knowledge, or only I can see reality, says your OCD and your anxiety, like a cult leader does. A cult leader, to keep people in the cult and keep them obedient, will say that, hey, forget that other people are saying there's no danger. They're just too dumb or ignorant or afraid to see this. I'm smart enough. I'm quick enough. I'm brave enough to see the real truth, and I'll protect you with this real truth. That's what a cult leader does. That doesn't make him correct. Doesn't make the cult leader correct. It just makes them really good at being manipulative and maintaining control. And I think the last one I'll give you, like point number 5, we could probably go on for hours and hours drawing these parallels. And I would invite you to think of your own parallels, because if you really sit down and consider like, oh yeah, this is how cults, this is how extreme political movements, this is how extreme religious movements, this is how they work. And this is also how anxiety and OCD are working in my head. I'm in a cult here. I somehow have joined a cult. And when anybody says I should leave, I kind of tell them that I shouldn't, because the cult has my back. Anyway, number 5 would be, I'm going to sort of call it, we'll say moving the goalposts, right? Or always changing the goals. So a cult leader will ask more and more and more. A cult leader will ask you to suspend disbelief, like only believe them, throw away reality, only listen to what I say. Well, even when it doesn't match what you see, throw that away and only listen to my words, only listen to my wisdom, only listen to my secret knowledge and my ability to see the truth. And when you start to notice that, like, well, that doesn't seem right, the cult leader will move the goalposts. So when they push you to the extreme absurd ends of what is logical or realistic, and you start to see that, wait, this isn't starting to make sense, the cult leader will move the goalposts. It's what they do. It's how a cult works. And cult leaders are really good at that. Guess what? So is OCD. So are anxiety disorders. Really good at that. The cult leader, the gang leader, the movement leader, whatever it is, will always promise that one more sacrifice, one more donation, just upping your donation a little bit more, one more task, one more special rule to follow, just one more thing. I know those other things didn't seem to make sense now. You might be questioning, but let me add one more thing. There is always a one more thing, always, right? So, we kind of talk about in anxiety disorders, and especially in OCD, the futility of compulsions, like they're futile. I will call them theater sometimes. Compulsions and rituals are theater. They are imaginary and irrelevant in the ICBT formulation, right? So just check the lock one more time. You'll be able to get to sleep. Just read one more medical article, and then you'll be totally certain about your health. Just listen to 2 more podcasts. Just buy 3 more anxiety books. Sign up for 1 more course. Like the anxiety and OCD in your head, the cult leader will always move the goalpost. There's always another thing you can do. Your health anxiety will say, hey, good on you getting 16 different scans, medical scans. But, I'm the only one that really truly knows that medical doctors get it wrong all the time. So you better get 3 more. It will always give you another task to perform. It will always give you another ritual to perform. It will always give you another compulsion. It will always suggest more avoidance. It will never, ever be satisfied. The cult leader cannot let you feel safe or certain or confident, or you will leave the cult. And in this situation, if you have ever tried to solve your particular obsession or your particular anxious fear with logic and reason and challenge it that way, and even if you were able to solve your fear over one particular symptom or one particular thought or one particular OCD theme, wouldn't you know it, another one's going to take its place. So if you're listening to this podcast and you could say, well, 6 months ago, I was really afraid of that. Now I'm really afraid of this. It has morphed. Yes, because the cult leader in your head will keep giving you another task. There's always something else to do. You are never allowed to reach certainty, feelings of safety, or confidence in yourself. It will not let you do that. That is not okay, because then you would leave the cult, and we can't have that. So we have, I could go on for hours off the top of my head. This is 5 that I just came up real quickly in like 60 seconds with a pad and a pen this morning before I turned on the recording. So living with anxiety and OCD is like living with a cult leader in your head. It's you and it against the world. Us versus them, babe, says your anxiety disorder, your OCD. Like your anxiety disorder and your OCD will love bomb you, but they're the ones that make it so that you need love bombing to begin with. Like, let me make you feel really unsafe, but then, oh, here's all the love that you need to feel safe. Boy, that's convenient. It's how it, kind of keeps that relationship going. There's always very high stakes consequences if you challenge it or for showing any signs of dissent. You're not just going to be more anxious. You might actually die, or something, people you love will die, or something terrible will happen in the world. The consequences for challenging the cult leader are always portrayed as absolutely dire. If you don't vote for me again, the entire world is going to burn, says the cult leader, right? Or the political leader. So does OCD and anxiety. It's the same. It will always claim secret knowledge or special knowledge or vision of the truth that no one else can see. That's a big one, right? So the dude out there that's trying to get people to drink celery juice to solve every possible health and mental health problem claims that he has secret knowledge of the truth that comes from a spirit from the future that only he can see. That is what a cult leader does. That is what anxiety and OCD does in your head, because you can't prove it wrong. If I tell you that the entire script, I don't have a script, I'm kind of winging it, but if I told you that this entire episode of The Anxious Truth was handed to me by a spirit from the 1700s that somehow had time traveled to the year 3190, where they've solved anxiety disorders, then went back to the 1700s, then died, then came into my office and told me to do this episode, you would not be able to prove me wrong. I can make a claim that can never be proven wrong. So, okay, well, try me, says the cult leader. Try me. First of all, I can't be wrong because I've made up a story that can't be proved wrong, can't prove it negative. And then I'm going to tell you that, like, this is what gives me the secret knowledge. And if you disobey the secret knowledge, very high stakes, high consequences, disaster coming down the pike. And then finally, moving the goalposts. The cult leader in your head will constantly give you another task, another avoidance, another thing that's a nightmare, another thing that has to be monitored, another ritual, another compulsion, another symptom, another worry. It will never let you rest, ever. It will move the goalposts forever. And these are 5 ways that anxiety and OCD in your head act just like cult leaders, gang leaders, political leaders. I invite you to think about this and draw up parallels for yourself. Now, what does that mean? And again, a short episode is 18 minutes long. I guess that's short. But what does that mean in your actual situation? It means that people who leave cults feel like they've made they know they must do it, but in parallel with, I got to get out of here, is this may be a horrible mistake. The cult is going to track me down, or now I don't have protection, or who even am I and how do I see the world without the cult framework or rules? Like I have to deconstruct those old rules and find a new way to know who I even am without the cult. That's scary too. So the best you can hope for, I think, if you can kind of buy it a little bit to this cult leader, metaphor, is that, overcoming an anxiety disorder, overcoming OCD is in many ways operationally like leaving a cult. You got to do it, but it's really hard to do it because it feels super risky, and it will leave you feeling shaken and uncertain and unsure and having to rebuild things outside of that framework, which could be pretty daunting, right? Pretty anxiety producing itself, but it's okay. Those people get through it, and you can too. Just use the metaphor to help you lean on a little bit when it's time to actually challenge the cult leader by doing your ERP homework or writing your imaginal script or doing your exposures or challenging those beliefs that the cult leader has given you. It's a cult leader. You could see it. It's safe to disobey them. They are lying to you. So is anxiety. So is OCD. They are planting doubt, dangling carrots. They are acting the same way that cult leaders do in the real world. That is my 20-minute rant on OCD, anxiety, and having a cult leader living in your head. Rent-free, by the way. That dude has got a good deal. So, kick him out. He's taking up space. He's eating all the food. He's making you do things you don't want to do. That cult leader is not helping you. That cult leader is hurting you. And the reason why you're listening to this podcast is that that some part of you understands that cult leader is doing you dirty and you want to get away, which is difficult work, but you could do it. So I guess if you enjoyed this episode and you enjoy The Anxious Truth in general, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star rating for the podcast. If you really dig it, maybe take a second and write a review. Really cool. If you're watching on YouTube, again, sorry, no video this week, YouTube, and you really dig it, maybe subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload new episodes. That lets YouTube know that you care that I do this. Otherwise, they bury people like me in the algorithm so they could show you silly stuff instead. And what else can I tell you? If you want to talk about this, I am hanging out on the Disordered Community app. Disordered is the podcast they do every Friday with Josh Fletcher. That's at disordered.fm. You can check that out. You don't have to. That is not a secret path to recovery. It's not a cult over there. I promise there's no uniform and haircut. But if you want to talk about it and you want to check it out, go to disordered.fm, check out the community tab. It's optional, but that's kind of where I'm going to hang out and talk about these things. And just a reminder, I will end like I always do, even though I'm not even going to put music under this. I'm just literally going to upload it raw, just like this. So this is like the old school, right? Anxious Truth today. Just remember that if you could take something out of this episode and it informs some new action where you move a little bit closer to what you actually want, as opposed to like clinging to what you fear, even though you know you don't have to fear it, then you are winning. So if this helps you make a little bit of a shift, maybe point in a different direction, because remember, first we got to point in a new direction before we can go in a new direction, then take the win. It doesn't matter how small it is. Be nice to yourself, be patient, be consistent, and you can do it. If I didn't think you could do it, I wouldn't be talking into this microphone. I will be back in 2 weeks with another topic. Don't know what that is, but I will be here. Of course, every Friday is the Disordered podcast. Check that out at disordered.fm. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I will see you next time.